Hey, everybody. I am live on Facebook in the NSC Coaching Facebook group. Let's see. It is loading, and now I'm live. I am live now in the NSC Coaching Facebook group. I don't know who's going to be able to join me, but I hope you'll be able to. We're going to have a little chat today about the goals we have to be black and unbothered in our workplace. Seems like a misnomer. Like you can't be one or the other, like in the workplace and black and unbothered, especially now in this current cultural context. But listen, it's a process. As I said in the book, no thanks. 7 ways to say I'll just include myself. It is a process to become black and unbothered. And as you watch and read my journey and the journeys of others that are included in the book, you'll see that we didn't just come to this. In fact, when Cent Marshall tells her story, she started out at a company 34 years before she became an officer at a Fortune 10. You know what that is. And she was harassed. And what we found is in her situation, in my situation, in other situations, it's not always the white leader. It's not always the white supervisor. It's not always Karen, y'all. I've talked about this before. We talk about privilege and how privilege is really about it's around centering someone, right? And in the workplace, you're centering white maleness. And here's the thing, you can't be privileged and centered without other people centering you. And they're not all white folks, y'all. There are some people who have bought into the idea. Yeah, we've talked about this, that the white man's ice is colder. Yeah. And so they act like it. And then they also try to make you uphold European centric ideals, and beauty. And also in Scent Store, she talks about how this manager told her to go home and take off her red hooker shoes and take down those braids. She's 20 years old, 21 years old, something like that. And listen, she had to go home and she cried to her mother. What the person didn't know, these were her church clothes. She was very poor. She didn't have everything that a lot of people have. But when I asked her what color the manager was, it was a sister, y'all. I know you've run into it before. So it shouldn't be new. But here's what you got to know, that's part of being black and bothered. How do you get around feeling like you're othered, like your culture is not welcome, like you are not welcome, like your gender is not welcome? Well, here's the hard truth, it's built that way, okay? It's built that way. So the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? The question becomes, what are you going to do about it? And the truth is, it's going to start with you. While everybody's trying to get it together, with this new civil rights movement that is happening, you have more companies that are dedicating and pledging to do more. And I see somebody's joined me. Let me know who it is in the chat. And then, you know what? I'm pandemic Polly today because I'm letting my gray is showing. Okay, my gray is showing. Anyway, you got companies out there that are trying to pledge and say they're going to do some things. But you know what? It's a journey. It's going to take a while. So what do you do in the meantime? Do you wait until they get their acts together? And will they ever really get their acts together? That's the question. That's why this book really addresses you. There are three people here. Let me know who you are in the chat. Good to see you. But listen, in order to become black and unbothered in the workplace, let's really think about this. You've got to do a lot of, hey, Sasha, how you doing? You got to do a lot of leaning out, okay? And that means you can't go to your company to support every need that you have. And that's a mistake that so many of us have made. Once we get that good job at that good company, we're there and we expect them to do things for us. And you know what? The honest truth is that really isn't their job, first of all. Second of all, it's not built with us in mind, okay? So if they're going to pour into us, we're not going to be first on the list. Guess who's going to be first on the list? People who fit, the people who are going to be centered, right? So listen, you have got to find a way to center yourself. And you've got to do it by several different ways, which I named in the book. But one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is this entrepreneurial mindset. Okay. Some of you that work for other people are thinking, oh my gosh, she's telling me to start a business. Not necessarily. Okay. Now, I will say that there is an aspect to this that can allow you to build your income, diversify your income on the outside of your company. There's something to having some dollars in the bank. One of my mentor coaches calls it FU money. Okay. It is empowering. It allows you to say, if this doesn't work out, you know what? I got money in the bank. Even if that means that I have to work and then take some time off and then find the next job, you've got that cushion. The other thing it teaches you is I can make money outside of this place that does not center me. Okay. So, yeah, three aspects to entrepreneurial mindset. The first one is entrepreneurship. Okay. It's a mindset. It is something that says that you can run to the risk, you can innovate, you can instigate change, you can build business systems, processes, okay? This is a transformational leader that every career book is talking about, okay? You need to be able to run to the risk. Now, that's risky. And we have not been taught as Black women to be risky. We've been taught to be safe. Our parents have taught us that. And you know what? That's the way they lived. It's generational. You had to be safe because this thing called fear was real. Because people do things to you in the workplace. Yeah, we call them microaggressions now, but bias, prejudice, discrimination, and not just coming from white folks, y'all. Okay, so the second thing you need to be able to do is entrepreneurship. That word came from Xerox. I will not take credit for it. But back in the 80s and 90s, they discovered that there was a real need and a real talent for people who could start business ecosystems inside of business ecosystems. Okay? What better way to run a business? Listen, when I got the call to come to the big company and they said, we want you to build, gosh, my little antennas went up like this, right? Because I had the opportunity to use somebody else's money to build something inside. So failing fast and failing forward is not as scary when it's not your dime, right? Of course, you want to get it right. But if you do, you pivot and you fail fast. Like I said, you learn and you keep going. That's the kind of person they're looking for, not the person that's going to sit there and do exactly what their job description says over and over, rinse and repeat, and you're great at it. That is not going to get you to the C-suite. It's not going to get you promoted, okay? You've got to be doing more. Okay, so there's entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship. The third thing is extrapreneurship. Now, that's my word. You can use it, okay? I have put it into the universe. And it's my rebuke in the name of Jesus to the word side hustle. Girl, wait a minute. Stop. We have degrees, multiple degrees. We have certifications. We have been at this. We are polished. We are fine people, fine cars, fine clothes, fine credentials. We do not hustle. We are educated, okay? We've been at this workplace thing for years. 10, 15, 20, some of us, almost 30, knocking on the door of 30. And how in the world can we call it a hustle? Let me tell you what a hustle is. A hustle is, it reminds me of Ray Ray. Y'all know Ray Ray? Ray Ray is trying to get the next get, okay? He's trying to make the next buck. He has no plan. It doesn't even have to be in the same line of business. If he is hawking VCRs from whatever, I mean, that dates me, right? But I remember Ray Ray coming to the beauty shop with hot DVDs, bootleg, and he had all sorts of other stuff too. He had designer bags, he had all of this stuff trying to make a buck. That is not what an entrepreneur that is working outside of their 9 to 5 is doing. First of all, an entrepreneur is this: someone who puts together processes and people that will help grow the business. Your goal is to thrive, not just to make the next buck. So, the benefit to entrepreneurship is threefold. One, you're going to get that extra income. Okay. Now, listen, for those of you that are like, I'm afraid to start a business, let me tell you this, it doesn't even have to be that hard. What if you had another bank account that just took in the money from your short term rentals or your long term rentals? Okay. What if you're just investing? There are ways to make money outside of your 9 to 5, have nothing to do with your 9 to 5. They have no need to go get yourself an LLC, an S Corp, or anything. Okay. Find out a way to make some money and build processes around it so that when you go to sleep at night, you're making money. That book back there is an example of that. Residuals, okay? Residuals, royalties, find a way to do that, okay? Do it once. I wrote the book. It's not a whole business. It feeds into my business because business content is a part of my business. But I'm asleep at night and people are ordering books. That's a beautiful thing, okay? But here's the other thing that it does. It gives you confidence. That's that FU money again, okay? It gives you confidence to work inside of that organization with the, I would say, reckless abandon, but that's a little bit too harsh. But that run to the risk thing that you need to have, where you're not concerned and you're not afraid of what happens next if you fail. Okay, it's going to build your confidence. It's going to build your brand. Okay, the more you expose yourself in good ways to other people outside of your organization, the more you build your brand. That's not a bad thing, because that leads to number three. It builds opportunities inside your organization and outside of your organization. You're building your skills. That's actually a fourth one, okay? It builds your skills. You're learning something new that may or may not be applicable to the job that you have right now, but it might be applicable to something else. Listen, sis, okay? You've got to have this entrepreneurial spirit. And the entrepreneurial mindset also says that I bet on my brand because my brand is good and my brand attracts opportunities. And if you can bet on your brand instead of betting on a brand, it makes y'all realize you'll literally have to go in once a year and it's not a debate. It may not even be an argument, but you're kind of going back and forth over an incremental, slight percentage of an increase and maybe a bonus. Is that really where you want to be? Y'all, the research says that we are some of the most ambitious, and that is not a bad word, women, because we express the need to lead at the executive level more than any other group. Why can't we do that? Why can't we? In fact, we should. And there's a good way to do it. I'm going to tell you this little secret. You've got to be willing to get up and move. You can't stay somewhere year after year after year after year. Because if you look at the numbers, those of us in the Fortune 500, I say us, it used to be me, in the Fortune 500, most black women make it to senior manager, director, VP. Not most of us at SVP, not most of us at EVP, not most of us at C. There are no C's. I mean, there are some C's, but they're not CEOs, okay? There may be chief diversity officers. You need to read chapter 9 on that. But listen, direct reporting officers. That's what I'm talking about. A direct reporting officer. So if that's the case, if most of us are in the middle of that leadership pipeline and it's spewing us out for one reason or the other, whether it's economy, whether it's, gee, this company is scaling, they just bought a bunch of stuff and they've got redundancy, so they're letting go, or maybe you get pushed out. That happens a lot to us. Or maybe you're just fed up with the BS and you go start your own business. That's happening. And then you have Those women who are holding on to dear life for dear life in that. And most of those women have 7, 10, 15, 20 years experience, maybe at that company, maybe in their entire career. In the middle, let's look at the experience of those that do not look like us who make it to the C suite. Some of them have half that, some of them less than that. And you may be wondering how that happened. Not many of them have stuck around. Hey, Sasha. Yes, it is. She said, yeah. Um, Look, we got to be able to move. We got to be able to get up and move. And we got to be able to figure out, read the tea leaves before it goes bad, before it goes south. Do you have what it takes and the knowledge to understand that even when it's good, it's a good time to go? Because, listen, we talk about learning your market value in the book. And when you learn that market value, you're probably going to be shocked at how much you can make somewhere else, even in a lateral move. But you're qualified to do more, okay? Just be ready. Don't get stuck, because the longer you stay in that gaping hole that is gushing out people, the closer you get to retirement. And believe me, they want you to think that your life, your career life is over. you know, I have a couple clients that were like, you know what? I'm close to it. And so that's my goal. And I'm like, was that really your goal? Let's go back to dreaming. What? Sis, you are not dead yet. And I mentioned St. Marshall for a reason. I mentioned Marion Croak for a reason. These sisters retired, and did their lives end? No. You can still make it to the C suite. Don't believe the hype. That's all I got for y'all today, okay? Look, I got a little deal going. If you get the paperback, let's see, that's the hardback. Where's paperback? If you get the paperback from my site, have to get it from my site. Can't get it anywhere else. You will get $750 worth of free digital content. 3 hours worth of content. Free. $750 worth. That's a lot of money. Okay. So listen, if you go to my site, you're going to see it. It costs $750. This lineup of course material. Okay. But if you buy it from my site, you're automatically going to get this code, okay? Code's going to come to you. You're going to take the code, you're going to go back to my website. You're going to purchase the toolkit, but you're going to use the code. And the code is going to make it $0 when you check out, okay? So you're going to unlock that. And what you're going to do, you're going to get your book between 3 to 5 days. It'll ship within 24 hours. You're going to start reading the book. And then you're going to use that code again to go to the website that you received for the toolkit. And it's going to get you in. It's the password too. Okay. It's going to get you in. And you're going to start reading this book. And when you get to chapters that match up with the digital content, you're going to read the chapter. You're going to watch or listen or engage, okay, with the digital content. Then you're going to go back and then answer the coaching questions at the end. There are coaching questions at the end of each chapter, and you can wait, or you can go to the end of the book where I actually give you lined papers so you can write it out and journal right then. But you could have your journal with you too, okay? But I will be on your screen throughout this book if you like, or I'll be in your ear because there's some audio cast too. I mean, how many times does an author manifest for you when you buy the book? So I encourage you to do that. Buy the paperback from my site. Couple things that are coming. The hardback is coming this month. I just got some final edits in on that. And then also, it's going to be on my website. You could pre-order it now if you'd like. We have a handful coming next week that I will be shipping. I'm not going to do large orders, bulk orders fulfilled from here. That being said, you can do bulk orders from my website. There's a separate form A corporation has already done it. They ordered for the entire direct reporting team. Yes, I love that. Okay. The entire direct reporting team getting a copy of my book. They filled out the form. They get an invoice. Okay. That invoice, they can click that button. They can pay with somebody's credit card. It's all good. Or they could do ACH. ACH. Otherwise, the hardback is going to be distributed worldwide to retailers, online and off. So you'll begin to see the hardback in retail, which is so exciting to me. Oh my goodness. We got to get it right though, because these people have different platforms and they need different things. And when you get to cutting and pasting, yeah, we got to make sure that everything is right. So, shout out to Sasha. You're the only one here. I appreciate you. And that's all I got for you guys today. So, see you online.